If you've been told to cut out bread, rice, and potatoes forever, I need you to stop right there. Because what if I told you that's not true? What if the problem isn't the carbs at all, but how your body responds to them? And what if I could show you how to eat these foods without the blood sugar spikes? Stay with me for the next few minutes because this could completely change how you eat. I'm Dr. Megan Foster, 24 years as a surgeon, and I've sat across from hundreds of patients who've been given the same advice: cut carbs, just stop eating them. And I watch their faces fall because they're being asked to give up foods that are part of their culture, their family traditions, their daily life. But here's what most people don't know: you don't have to eliminate carbs, you just need to control the glucose response. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that today. Before we dive in, if managing blood sugar without giving up real food sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is all about practical, science backed health strategies that actually work in real life. No extreme diets, no impossible rules, just real solutions. All right, let's get into it. Here's the core truth that changes everything. The problem isn't carbohydrates, it's the spike. When you eat carbs, they break down into glucose. Your blood sugar rises. That's normal. But in people with insulin resistance or diabetes, that rise is too fast and too high. Those spikes damage your blood vessels, exhaust your pancreas, and leave you feeling terrible, tired, hungry, craving more carbs an hour later. But when you control the spike, when you create a gentler, smoother blood sugar curve, everything changes. You can eat bread, you can eat rice, you can eat potatoes, and your body handles them completely differently. So let me give you 7 strategies that are backed by real research that you can start using today, and that will transform how your body responds to carbohydrates. And here's what's wild: most of these don't require you to change what you eat, just how you eat it. Let's start with the most powerful one that almost nobody knows about. It's called resistant starch. And this is going to sound too good to be true, but stay with me because the science is solid. When you cook starchy foods like rice, potatoes, or pasta, and then let them cool in the refrigerator, the starch molecules actually rearrange themselves into a form that your body can't digest as easily. This is resistant starch. And when you eat that cooled starch, your blood sugar spike is dramatically lower than if you ate the same food hot and fresh. We're talking 20 to 30% lower glucose response just from cooling your food. Studies using continuous glucose monitors have proven this over and over. Same rice, same potato, different temperature, completely different blood sugar curve. And here's the best part: you can reheat it after cooling, and it still works. The resistant starch stays resistant. So cook a big batch of rice on Sunday, let it cool in the fridge. Then all week, you reheat portions for your meals. You're eating the exact same food, but your body is processing it like a completely different food. Slower glucose release, lower spike, and that resistant starch is feeding your beneficial gut bacteria, producing compounds that actually improve your insulin sensitivity over time. This works for potatoes too. Boil them, cool them overnight, use them in a potato salad, or reheat them for breakfast. Same delicious potato, fraction of the blood sugar impact. This one strategy alone can be a game changer. If you do nothing else from this video, start cooling and reheating your starches. You'll feel the difference. Now, strategy number 2 is something you probably already do without realizing it, but when you understand why it works, you can use it intentionally. Never eat carbs naked. What I mean is, always pair carbohydrates with protein, fat, or fiber. When you do this, you slow down digestion. Food stays in your stomach longer. Glucose is released into your bloodstream gradually instead of all at once. And your blood sugar curve becomes so much gentler. The research on this is crystal clear. When scientists measure blood sugar after meals, mixed meals with protein, fat, and fiber produce dramatically lower glucose spikes than carbs eaten alone. So here's how you apply this. If you're having toast, put almond butter on it, or avocado, or have it with eggs. Don't just eat plain toast. If you're having rice, eat it with chicken, vegetables, a little olive oil. Don't eat a bowl of plain rice. And honestly, we already eat this way most of the time. Nobody sits down and eats a plain baked potato. We add butter, sour cream, cheese, broccoli on the side. That's food pairing. You're already doing it. Just do it intentionally every single time. Here's strategy number 3, and this one is so simple, it almost seems like it shouldn't work. But it does. Add something acidic to your meal. Vinegar, lemon juice, or fermented foods. 1 to 2 tablespoons of vinegar consumed before or with a carb heavy meal can reduce your post meal blood sugar spike by 20 to 30%. And it improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your body gets better at clearing glucose from your blood. The mechanism is acetic acid. It slows the breakdown of starch into sugar. It delays gastric emptying, and it helps your muscles take up glucose more efficiently. You don't have to drink vinegar straight, although some people do. Make a salad with olive oil and vinegar dressing and eat it before your meal. Add lemon juice to your water. Have pickles, sauerkraut, or kimchi as a side. All of those fermented foods have organic acids that do the same thing. This is why so many traditional cuisines include fermented foods or acidic elements with meals. They knew it helped digestion. Now we know it helps blood sugar too. I had a patient who loved pasta. She wasn't giving it up. So I told her to start every pasta meal with a small salad dressed in balsamic vinegar. That's it. One simple change. She did it consistently, and her post meal blood sugar numbers improved dramatically. She was still eating her pasta, she was just being strategic about it. And if you want more details on how vinegar works, I have a whole video on that linked in the description. But the takeaway is this: adding acid to your meals is a metabolic tool that costs almost nothing and works immediately. All right, now this next one, strategy number 4, this is where it gets really interesting. And it might be the easiest thing you can do with the biggest impact. The order you eat your food matters a lot. Eat your protein and vegetables first. Save your carbohydrates for last. That's it. Same meal, same foods, different order. And research shows this can cut your glucose and insulin spikes in half. When you eat protein and fiber first, you're priming your digestive system. You're slowing gastric emptying. You're triggering hormones that regulate glucose. So by the time the carbohydrates arrive, your body is in a much better position to handle them. One study found that eating vegetables and protein before carbohydrates reduced post meal glucose by nearly 50% compared to eating carbs first. 50% from just changing the order. Let me give you a real world example. You go out to dinner, there's a bread basket on the table. Normally, you'd grab some bread while waiting for your food, but instead, you wait. You order a salad to start. When your main course arrives, you eat your steak and broccoli first. Then, if you still want that bread, you have it. But by that point, you've buffered the impact. Your blood sugar response is going to be so much gentler. Same food, different sequence, completely different outcome. This works at home too. Having a stir fry with rice, eat most of your vegetables and protein first, then have your rice. It feels a little strange at first, but once you see the results, it becomes automatic. And honestly, it doesn't take away from enjoying your food. You're still eating everything, you're just being smart about the order. Now, if you're finding this helpful so far, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube that this video is valuable and helps it reach more people who need this information. And drop a comment below telling me which strategy you're going to try first. I read every single comment and I love hearing from you. All right, let's keep going. Strategy number 5 is probably the easiest thing you can do, and it requires zero change to your diet. After you eat, move, take a 10 to 15 minute walk. That's it. Not a run, not a workout, just a gentle walk. And the impact is remarkable. When you move after eating, your muscles start pulling glucose out of your bloodstream to use for energy. They're soaking it up, and that means your post meal blood sugar spike is lower and it comes back down faster. Studies show that even a short, easy walk after a meal can reduce post meal glucose by 20 to 30%. And the timing matters. You want to move within 30 minutes of finishing your meal. That's when your blood sugar is starting to rise. You're intercepting that spike. And it doesn't need to be intense. In fact, gentle movement might be better because it's sustainable and it doesn't spike stress hormones. There's actually fascinating research on a muscle in your calf called the soleus. It's incredibly metabolically active. When you're walking, even slowly, that muscle is contracting and using glucose. It's like a metabolic sink, just soaking up blood sugar. One of my patients walks laps around her living room for 10 minutes after lunch while listening to a podcast. Sounds silly, but it works. Her blood sugar stays stable all afternoon. And here's the thing, if you do this consistently, if you make post-meal walking a habit, you're training your body to handle glucose more efficiently over time. You're improving insulin sensitivity, you're reducing inflammation. and you're doing it in a way that feels good and doesn't require a gym. This is the one thing I wish every single person with blood sugar issues would do: walk after meals. Strategy number 6 is about choosing quality. Not all carbs are created equal. The difference is processing and fiber. Think about it like a fire. If you throw sawdust on a fire, it burns fast and hot and then it's gone. But a log burns slowly and steadily. Refined carbohydrates like white flour and white rice, those are sawdust. They break down fast and spike your blood sugar. Whole grains with fiber intact, those are logs. They burn slowly and release glucose gradually. When grains are milled into fine flour, you lose the fiber, you lose the nutrients, and you're left with pure starch that digests quickly. But whole grains still have that fiber that slows everything down. Studies comparing white bread to whole grain bread consistently show lower glucose spikes with whole grains. Same thing with brown rice versus white rice. And it's not just about whole grain versus refined, it's about the form. Rolled oats are better than instant oats. A baked potato with skin is better than mashed potatoes. Now, I'm not saying you can never have white rice or white bread. I'm saying when you have a choice, lean toward the less processed option. And when you do have something refined, use the other strategies. Pair it with protein, add vinegar, eat it after your vegetables, walk afterward. You can still enjoy it and manage your blood sugar. It's about being strategic, not perfect. Here's strategy number 7, and this one surprises people. When you eat matters as much as what you eat. Your body is more insulin sensitive in the morning and less insulin sensitive at night. That's your circadian rhythm. In the morning, your muscles and liver are primed to handle glucose efficiently. But as the day goes on, especially in the evening, that efficiency drops. And at night, when melatonin rises, insulin secretion gets suppressed. Research shows that eating the exact same meal in the morning versus late at night produces dramatically different glucose responses. Morning meal, lower spike, better insulin sensitivity. Night meal, higher spike, more insulin resistance. So practically, if you're going to eat carbs, and you should, it's better earlier in the day. Have a good breakfast with complex carbs, have a solid lunch, keep dinner lighter on the carbs, and finish eating at least 3 hours before bed. I know this can be tough because dinner is the big social meal. But even small adjustments help. Maybe have a slightly smaller portion of rice at dinner. Focus more on protein and vegetables. Save bigger carb portions for lunch. And avoid late night snacking, especially on carbs. One of my patients shifted from eating her biggest meal at night to eating it at lunch. Within weeks, her morning blood sugar numbers improved dramatically. Same foods, different timing. Your body has a rhythm. Work with it. Now, let me tell you what ties all of these strategies together. They're cumulative. You don't have to do all 7 perfectly every single time. Even doing 2 or 3 consistently makes a massive difference. Maybe you start with just cooling your rice. Or maybe you start with a walk after dinner. Or maybe you focus on food order for a week. Pick what feels doable. Build that habit, then add another. This is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about small changes that stack up over time. And what happens when you do this consistently? Your blood sugar becomes more stable. Your energy levels out. Your cravings decrease. You feel better. And over weeks and months, your body actually starts to change. Your cells become more sensitive to insulin. You're improving your metabolic health from the inside out. Let me address something important. If you're on diabetes medications, especially insulin, talk to your doctor before making big changes. When you improve your blood sugar control through these strategies, your medication needs might go down. And if you're still on the same dose, you could end up with low blood sugar. So monitor closely and work with your doctor to adjust as needed. The goal is to need less medication while maintaining good control. And these strategies help you get there. And if you're not on medications yet, if you're pre-diabetic or your blood sugar is just starting to creep up, this is your moment. This is when lifestyle changes have the most power. You can prevent or delay progression to diabetes. You can avoid medications altogether. But it takes commitment and consistency. And it takes believing that what you do matters, because it absolutely does. I've seen people completely turn things around. Hemoglobin A1C dropping from pre-diabetic back to normal, people getting off medications, and it starts with one meal, one walk, one batch of cooled rice. You build from there, and your body responds. It wants to be healthy. Give it the right inputs and it will work with you. Now, eating out. This is where people feel like they lose control, but you can apply these principles anywhere. When the bread basket comes, wait. Order a salad first. Eat your protein and vegetables before your starch. Ask for a to-go box when your meal arrives and pack up half the starch before you start eating. Restaurant portions are huge. You don't need all of it. Make smart substitutions. Whole grain bread instead of white. Extra vegetables instead of fries. And definitely walk after that meal, even if it's just around the parking lot. Let's talk about fruit quickly because people ask about this constantly. Yes, fruit has sugar. Yes, it will raise your blood sugar, but fruit also has fiber and nutrients that are incredibly beneficial. So don't eat fruit alone on an empty stomach. Pair it with protein or fat, apple with almond butter, berries with Greek yogurt, orange after a meal, and choose whole fruit over juice. Juice is concentrated sugar without fiber. It spikes blood sugar fast. Whole fruit, the fiber slows absorption. Much gentler response. Berries are excellent choices. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, high fiber, lower sugar, packed with antioxidants. Apples, pears, cherries, citrus, all good. Higher sugar fruits like bananas and grapes, just be mindful of portions and pair them. Fruit is not the enemy. Ultra-processed foods with added sugars are the real problem. Fruit is whole food. Don't fear it. Just be smart. Here's something people often miss. Stress affects blood sugar. When you're stressed, cortisol goes up. Cortisol tells your liver to release glucose. Your blood sugar rises even if you haven't eaten. Chronic stress means chronically elevated blood sugar. I've had patients doing everything right with diet and exercise, but their stress is through the roof and their blood sugar won't come down. Managing stress isn't optional, it's essential. Find what works for you. Meditation, exercise, therapy, time in nature, whatever it takes. And sleep. When you don't sleep enough, you become more insulin resistant. Your hunger hormones get dysregulated. You crave carbs and sugar. Even one night of poor sleep impairs glucose tolerance. Chronic sleep deprivation dramatically increases diabetes risk. So prioritize sleep. 7 to 9 hours. Consistent schedule. Dark, cool, quiet room. No screens before bed. When you sleep better, blood sugar management becomes so much easier. Let me be real with you for a second. Living with blood sugar issues is hard. It requires constant attention, constant decisions, and it can be exhausting. So give yourself credit for being here, for seeking information, for trying. Every small step counts. Every meal where you use one strategy counts. Every walk counts. And setbacks are normal. You'll have meals that don't go as planned, days when blood sugar is higher than you want. That's part of being human. What matters is you don't let one bad meal derail you. You acknowledge it and move forward. Progress, not perfection. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. You don't need to fear carbohydrates. You need to manage the glucose response. And you can do that. You can eat bread, rice, potatoes, and keep your blood sugar stable. Use resistant starch. Pair your carbs with protein and fat. Add acid to your meals. Eat food in order. Walk after eating. Choose quality carbs when you can. Eat carbs earlier in the day. These are your tools. Use them. And remember, this isn't just about managing blood sugar in the moment. You're improving your metabolic health over time. You're feeding good gut bacteria. You're reducing inflammation. You're supporting your entire body. This is an investment that pays off. So here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one strategy, just one, and try it today. Maybe tonight at dinner, eat your vegetables first. Maybe tomorrow you take a walk after breakfast. Maybe this weekend you cook rice and let it cool. Start somewhere, take action, and then do it again tomorrow. That's how habits form. That's how bodies change. And if you found this valuable, if this made sense and gave you hope, subscribe to this channel right now. I make videos like this regularly. Science-based, practical, no hype. Real strategies for real people trying to live healthy lives. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join a community of people who believe that health doesn't have to be extreme or complicated. Also, I mentioned vinegar and fermented foods earlier. I have a detailed video on exactly how they work and specific ways to use them. It's linked in the description. Watch that next. It's a natural extension of what we covered here. And if you're curious about continuous glucose monitors, whether you should use one, how they work, I have a video on that too. These videos build on each other and give you a complete toolkit. Drop a comment below right now. Tell me which strategy resonated most. Tell me what you're going to try. Tell me your biggest challenge with blood sugar. I read every comment and I respond to as many as I can. This is a conversation. You're not alone in this. Share this video with someone who needs it. Someone who's been told to cut all carbs and feels lost. Someone who's struggling. Send them this link. Help them see there's another way. You could make a real difference in someone's life today. One last thing. You are more powerful than you realize. Your choices shape your health. The small decisions you make every day about what to eat, when to eat it, what to do after, those choices compound. They add up and they create your future. That's not pressure, that's empowerment. You're not helpless. You're not at the mercy of your diagnosis. You have tools, you have knowledge, you have the ability to change your trajectory. So take what you learned today and use it. See what happens. Notice how you feel. And know that you can do this. You can eat the foods you love and manage your blood sugar. You can feel better. You can improve your health. It starts with the next meal. You've got this. I believe in you. Now go make it happen. I'll see you in the next video.